Welcome everyone, Dr. Thor here. Get ready for Christ consciousness. Well, I want to talk about a person who again is a successful, powerful occultist. And not only that, she has a long record of documentable successes. And these are with things that you would consider pretty obscure. Meaning she won, my mouth's not working, she won a whole bunch of contests. And she had such a high rate that it's astonishing. Some people have claimed she won almost anything that she joined, that she entered in contests, and she figured out how to do this. Now, what's interesting is these aren't contests of luck either, meaning that it's just some, roulette wheel type of contest winning, which is interesting. This person is, his name is Helene Hadsell. Helene Hadsell. So, who was born in 1924, died at 2010. And she was considered the contest queen. She entered and won many contests for items and for all expense paid trips. She also won a house, which was showcased in the 1964 New York World's Fair. She wrote several books. She went on to earn a degree in metaphysics. And was very much into this. And she has put down her entire system. Now, I bought her book many years ago when we were more heavily involved in the investing aspects in the organization. Unfortunately, that kind of fell apart, and we were unable to follow through with it and get anything done. And I have not read her book. I still think I have it somewhere. But she's written three or four books. So this is definitely something that you should look into. Her last book, which was, what does it say here? Was this published here recently? Okay, so it was released in 2007. Confessions of an 83-year-old Sage. So she did live to be long on top of it, which is always nice to see that, of course, that her psychic empowerments also affected her physically. Of course, 83, everybody should reach 83 in this day and age. It's not that great of an accomplishment, but so many people die in their 70s who claim to be so advanced psychically. She wrote another book, In Contact with Other Realms, Adventurers' Experience in Awareness. And, of course, her classic book from 1971, The Name It and Claim It Game, which using wishcraft, not craft, wish. And of course, this was reprinted apparently in 2020 as well. So you can get these books, I think, relatively easily. But there's certainly a lot of these sold. So if you need to go to the used book market, you could also find them there. Of course, as I get these copied, people in Patreon and, of course, All Access membership, you can access the organization's library and get these for free, which is a great opportunity for people to get lots of information by just being a member. So these are things you can look at. The classic one was Name It and Claim It. And it's interesting because she certainly has, and here's a person who's an occultist, a metaphysician, a person who has used different methods to win contests one after the other. Now, it appears that she started off with the classical things that were very popular back then, which was positive thinking. But that's kind of a bogus term. Really what she was doing, as she talks about, is concentrating energy and sending it out to win things. And it worked. And it didn't work once or twice or 5 or 10 times. God knows how many contests she actually won. It could be in the hundreds. So when we do that, that means it's scientifically proven that her methods work. Now, unfortunately, her methods work for her. And we always assume that could be transferred to some extent to others. But that's science, people. It's called repetition. All science is based on repetition. If you do something and you only can have it happen once, that ain't science. It goes, okay, well, that was a freak of nature. So the whole idea is that, okay, then you do it again. You say, okay, that's interesting. Let's do it again. Very good. Now we've got it. Do it again. once you get past 10 or 15 times, it's now science. So whatever she was doing worked. But again, these things are not just questions of actual things. I mean, like she won contests for naming, was it a dog or a horse? So they liked the name she gave. Was that because she psychically influenced them to say you like it? Well, that's what psychic influence or magical influence is all about, or subtle energy physics, radionics. You can influence somebody with a radionic machine, with a other type of psychic and magical procedures. So did she influence them to say, hey, like my name? Well, it worked. So, and she would do things like adding contests in 25 words or less. Submitting little essays and so forth. So this again is not just having your number picked. This are just randomly, like bingo, or putting all the numbers in a hat and they pull out your number. So the whole idea is it's not that. There is a certain amount of skill involved here, or the ability to do something that attracts people. The little things you do to catch the eye of the judge beyond just being picked out of a hat. So it's a very interesting story, and I will read her book and get back to everybody. But these are some, people are always looking for these very direct things. And I'll probably read her book and put together a synopsis of it, or add to it and take out some of the good stuff, put that in a practical brochure along with some things that I change around in power. And this will be pretty cool to have something. But this is a bona fide person. Here we go again. These people are ignored. I mean, she died in 2010, which is only about 14 years ago at the time of this recording. That's not that long ago, but I haven't heard of her. She hasn't been that active. I mean, she has written these books and other things, but these people are poo-pooed. The goo-goo talkers, those subhuman preschool scientists, the dumb bunkers, the guys who are clown school graduates, guys who are convicted felons, high school teachers, Latin teachers, and all the other stooges that are with that. So, I mean, this is your assembly, the little deviant magician who tricks people. I mean, these are the kind of people. And by the way, didn't graduate. None of these people graduated high school except for the graduated teacher. And of course, the convicted criminal, I believe he has a convicted felon, Brian Dunning, has completed high school at least. Maybe he even got college. Ooh, teach me how to be better crook. So the whole idea is that this is these kind of people go onto YouTube, and it's very interesting how the Silva Mind Method people on Seweropedia, and of course you never should look there when you want just basic information. So I use it all the time for very basic, but I don't really. I found so much misstatements, and they go in there, the dumb bunkers, the idiot skeptics, and they mess with these. They actually put a statement there from the unamazing Randy. Who is he? He didn't even graduate high school. He's an expert because he pulls a rubber rabbit out of a hat. Yeah, I'm the unamazing Randy. Watch me trick you for money. I mean, it's almost to the point where, they might as well be holding a gun to your head. It's total fraud. So the whole idea is that it's not funny because they're making a fool of you. So the whole idea is that these are the kind of people that are hooked up with that. But, they give credibility to the worst people. And, of course, you're never going to get any real scientists getting behind them because they know that there is something to all this and they don't want to seem like a fool. So, so here we go with a proven, successful method by a woman who was doing it for 83 years. Well, obviously she wasn't doing it at birth, but she's been involved in this industry for 60 years, and she continued. I don't know how she did lately, but she was able to figure out how to generate enough success energies, and this is what we're talking about. She surrounded herself with success energies, so people just picked her stuff out from other ones because they like the energy of it. Were her essays, were her names better than somebody else? Well, that's very subjective. So subjective means that, could be not, totally up to you. It's like so many things with court cases and so forth. They can go any way they want. But when you get into certain things, it's 100% subjective. Do you like sushi? Well, that's your part, isn't it? That's your sickness, not mine. The whole idea, it's subjective. Do you like this flavor, this taste, this color, this pants? It's particularly with fashion. A lot of people say, oh, this is horrible fashion. Well, that's your opinion of it. Somebody else may think it's wonderful. It's subjective. What do you like? What do you don't like? And then people want to come in and say, well, there's a general understanding of what's good or bad from the pseudo experts. So all those gay guys that like to dress women. Huh? So the whole idea is that this is what happens with the reality that's out there. We don't hear much from it, but here's another value. I'm going to try and post a lot of things like this, just like this spurred me on reading this book, which was done by basically a Christian minister, lawyer that went to Berkeley. Huh? Again, what the hell is that about? How do you go to Berkeley and come out of there a conservative Christian? Whoa. I wondered, a guy hit his head somewhere during his education? I don't know. But the point is, you're talking about one of the most radical, bizarre colleges on the planet. This is where California got its reputation of being crazy from. And I don't know if it's still like that there or not, but you generally have the wildest people in the world are going to come from Berkeley, which perpetrates that kind of viewpoint and allows it to grow and phosphor by watering it with crazy juice. So the whole idea is that this is there. So it spurred me on because he listed a whole bunch of people and tried to say how crazy and perverted they were because they were following Aleister Crowley. The problem is they were all super successful and rich, and they're all basically good people that are still prospering today and who are thought of as some of the best people on the planet. And certainly their brush with Mr. Crowley did nothing but empower their life. But it wasn't Crowley, it was the fact that they accepted magic and used it in their life, and now they're doing great. So here we go. Now here's another person who accepted her life. Lived to be 80, it is 86. She lived to be 86 years old, died in 2010, is the Hadsell. Helen Hadsell, who apparently Daschle, I don't know, she was born Helen Barbara Daschle. I don't know, her husband was Hadsell or Haskell. Hadsell? Eddie Haskell? No. Hadsell. So the whole idea is that here she won all this stuff time and time again. I'm kind of enthused now to read her. She won trips to Disneyland. She won so many. But as he said, it's more than just luck here. She's influencing it. She's surrounding herself with energies that other people recognize. And they're not picking her out randomly. They're looking at something that she presented, whether it's a name or a little essay, and they're picking hers. Now, did she have great talent? Was her writings better than others? Hell no. Let's get ridiculous. Here, is one name better than another for a horse? Not really. Oh, why did they like hers? Because they liked the energy of it, and they picked it. That's magic. That's subtle energy physics. This is why I talk about surrounding yourself with a field where you become it's really a vortex-like energy. It's not really magnetic, which falls into the electromagnetic spectrum, but it's a term we all understand. It draws something to you, which is what we think magnets do. Because if you turn magnets around, you can push the other magnet away. So magnetism doesn't necessarily mean drawing to you. It means a field. But the bottom line is that I hope I didn't confuse anybody with a fox again. So the whole idea is that she surrounded herself. She won contest after contest. And apparently, from what I've read on her briefly, she started out with positive thinking. But it was more than that. She was smart enough to energize. And I've always talked about this, same with visualization. Energize your positive thinking. Energize your thoughts so you create this magnetic type effect. That's the key to it. She did it. Check her out. This is, again, more successful occultists. And I'm going to start posting more of these because I'm sick and tired of this goo-goo talk from the preschoolers that went to 18 years of college to understand absolutely nothing. And, of course, we have the aftermath of their great education. Planet that's dying, wars going on all the time, and no technologies to do anything except something to pollute the earth with. Our greatest invention is an electric car. Here we are, 2022. I have an electric car here. Yeah. along with my flamethrowers I attached to the side of the front there. And we shoot like James Bond. So this is the kind of nonsense you'll run into with the boobs out there who think they're so intelligent and talk about physics and everything else. Yeah, why don't you get physics as something that works, boob head? So the whole idea is that all of these people, we come down to the fact that they produce nothing. These are your scientists, your regular type, otherwise known as buffoonish fools. Here's a woman who went out and proved how to energize thought forms and proved it in her life with winning time after time after time. Here we go. It's all here. She did use, as she moved on later in life, she gravitated over to Silva mind control method and was using that, and I believe she was associated with them and everything else. So she's an educated, successful person. If she's using Silva mind control as a general rule, and again, this is all general, probably find out that she's a nut job, who knows. But if she's doing that method and working with them, it shows that there's a validity to it. But I'm assuming she was also making money and paid by them. But she liked the system. She used it herself, and it did produce noticeable results. You're talking about money in your wallet, not theoretical physicists. My feet hurt. We can't go faster than the speed of light. So the whole idea is that all these things that go out there are the problems that we have with these egg-headed fools living in a delusional reality that they're patted on the back by other fools as the world's on fire. Now, the world is on fire. We need solutions. And here's people that did something. I don't think any of these theoretical physicists have done anything. They've given us theories that have added into nothing, that there's no breakthroughs in 100 years. And as I always said, don't confuse that with engineering, who build something. So they build something, and if it don't work, it falls down. So we know whether they're right or not. So these are how things go. So this is a great system. This is a great person. Look her up. You can get a little bit online. There's a fair amount from Sewerpedia on her, a little bit of blurbs. Maybe 3 words there, right? Maybe they got her name spelled right, and I think there's American in it. Yeah, that's spelled right. Good job, Sewerpedia. So the whole idea is that you can look all these things up, look her up, check out Silva Mind Control. These are all interesting things. I would get her book, and I would try and pick up Silva Mind Control books as well. You can probably find them very inexpensive out there. They've been out there a long time. This is a great foundation, people. You need that to get into the better stuff. You know, if you don't learn how to ride a bike and how to drive a, Yugo? Whoa, that's showing how old I am. So the whole idea is that, you got to learn how to do that before we bring you into the Ferraris. So the whole idea is that these are all great foundations. These are people who have proved themselves, and these are systems that have value. Until next time.